it really actually makes me a little jealous and a little depressed that some of the pool houses we look at are bigger than my apartment.
Awesome. Welcome to Inside Copy and Art, the podcast. I am so excited to have my guest today, Halina Sabath, who's creative director of Today Media. So what is Today Media? She's going to tell us all about it. But for now, if you don't mind, just welcome Halina to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. This is exciting.
Yeah, so you know that I like to start the show with a celebratory something. So I have something in a glass if you want to say cheers.
Ooh.
You were supposed to bring me some Polish
vodka.
Well,
I didn't
we'll
know
pretend
that.
this is Polish vodka for today. Cheers. Thank you for coming.
You go, girl.
That's a good shot. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We do have to have some fun while we're here. So That's a good way to start it off. Tell me about Today Media. For my Westchester friends, they might know exactly what that is, but for people kind of outside of the Westchester network, tell me what Westchester Media is, what you do. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
My pleasure. Today Media may not be as familiar with Westchester as we are. Westchester Magazine is really the product that everybody is familiar with. And I'm going to show you some examples later on.
Cool.
But we have sisters. We have Hudson Valley Magazine, Delaware Magazine, Mainline Today. These are all sisters, and we belong to Today Media family.
Oh, cool.
We also have in Baltimore Custom Publishing, which is another branch of our company. So we started as Westchester Magazine, actually. Back then, it used to be Spotlight Magazine that was bought by Ralph Martinelli and became Westchester Magazine. From there, we opened up a new branch, ancillary magazines, starting with Home Magazine, which I actually dig up the premiere issue.
Beautiful.
Later on, we started 914 Inc. magazine.
Cool.
Right now, we're also publishing the Ultimate Guide to Westchester, a wonderful combination of everything that's fun about Westchester, and our recent finalist in CRMA Publications Home and Weddings. Weddings actually was finalized this year, and we were among beautiful magazines and big magazines like Boston, Dallas, Los Angeles, and much bigger city magazines than we are.
I have to say, one of my favorite things about Westchester Magazine and all of the kind of ancillary products and other publications, they're just elegant and beautiful. You know, not every publication takes the same amount of care with creative and the way that their covers are designed. And so tell me a little bit about your job as creative director for these magazines. Like, what's the most important or interesting part of your job as a creative director?
There's so many aspects. I'm really blessed because I have a chance to work on such a vast array of magazines. Home, for example, we featuring the best interior designers and architects in the area. Every year we have design awards, and I have a pleasure to look through hundreds of submissions of beautiful. It really actually makes me a little jealous and a little depressed that some of the pool houses we look at are bigger than my apartment. But that's just an example of a beautiful magazine, because we have a pleasure to work with really talented people, from editors that select those stories to vendors, to stylists, photographers. We really, over 20 something years, we gathered the most talented people in the area.
That's
I must say. So it's a pleasure. It's really a pleasure to work with them. Our latest wedding magazine was photographed on location. I always try to photograph locations in Westchester because it's just such a beautiful county. We have historical sites like Lyndhurst. We have beautiful waterfront. From the moment that I moved into Westchester, I just fell in love with this area, and I don't see a reason to move out other than our taxes are always the highest. But we take really a lot time and attention to what we want to feature, and it starts with editors. They are the ones that go out there, they look for the perfect project, the perfect person to present to you, and then they kind of hand it to me, to the art department, and say, how can we put the images
like bring this to life,
bring it bring it alive. So it's easy when you work with a great team.
Well, when you're really talented there. We've worked together a couple of times.
Yes.
And that was fun.
Yes, and we connected.
Yes, and I could appreciate immediately like your love for the creative process. So before the show, you asked me, what does your audience care about, right? Because of course you want to be of value the way like we want to be of value. And one of the things I did mention was this connection to Westchester. And one of the reasons why I was so excited to meet you was because before I knew you, I knew these publications and I was so impressed. I also love Westchester. That's why we planted Copy and Art here, right? We could have been in New York City like everyone else. But we really love this county, and it is so diverse and so beautiful. In terms of like, if you want to have a wedding here, if you want to have a New York City kind of creative experience, you can come to Copy and Art. You can go to a beautiful park and take a hike. You can also have an urban environment and go downtown White Plains or New Rochelle. It's such like an interesting place outside of the New York City hub. Tell me a little bit. So our work has been mostly in the 914 Inc. space.
Yes.
Right? Because of course, as a business in Westchester, I mean, she brought her favorite. I mean, that's my favorite issue too. I'm only kidding. So we worked together on that. Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about our experience?
Yes, of course.
Nice.
This image.
It was a cold day.
This is my favorite image of Elena, and I don't know about you, but I really love it. And every photo shoot is different. I do take time to pick the best photographer for the job. We have interior designers, we have products, we have celebrities, we have personalities. Each person will have different talent. And so for this particular project, Toshi Tasaki was our best photographer. He comes from Japan, also very culturally diverse. And I know you were probably a little disappointed because we spent maybe a minute taking this picture, but I knew we have the essence. We have her spark in her eyes, the beautiful smile, the light was perfect. It just happened like that.
I was frozen. Do you remember how cold it was that day?
Yes.
So I wasn't disappointed. I was just frozen.
But that's how it goes. Sometimes you spend an hour taking a picture and it ends up not being used in a magazine because it's not the best. And sometimes it takes a second and you have a perfect one. But I think it takes experience to know when you have it.
And you have the right experience. Tell me a little bit about how you got here, because you've spent a tremendous amount of time with Today Media.
Yes.
Tell us briefly like what that journey looks like, because we do have some audience members who are either mid-career or just starting their career in creative.
Yes.
And I love to expose them to the opportunities that exist for creative people, right?
Yes.
Writers, designers, art, graphic design. And so you have a beautiful story and a unique one insofar as you've been with the same place for over 20 years.
Yes.
So tell our audience a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, my journey is probably not a usual journey because most people I see, especially now, a lot of people change their place of employment very often, very quickly, which is great. You meet new people, you meet new ways of doing, you learn a lot. But I had another opportunity. I had an opportunity to grow with the company. When I started with the company previous to Westchester Magazine, right out of college. I was recruited by the CEO. My teacher, actually, the dean of our art, told me about it, and it was just the right fit at the right time. And it all worked with my lifestyle and what was happening in my private life. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I couldn't win a better price, you know. Right. So I started as an image specialist. Photoshop. That was the time of scanning images and slides. I don't know if you remember.
So some of the people in the room do not.
Yes,
well,
some
I
people
do.
in the room making match prints, creating film for printers. We had it all in a very small office in Mamaroneck. We were sitting so close that the editor would hand me her printouts. So that's no longer the case,
No.
thank God. But it was a very tight quarters and very tight relationships, and you could learn a lot in a very short time. I could hear sales calls, I could hear editorial calls, so I was just taking everything in. And the rest is history. I started with Photoshop and correcting images. Color correction was much more extensive those days than it is now. And going very quickly through custom publishing, working with Bergdorf Goodman, Cotton Ink, and doing their newsletters. Newsletters were actually printed, not online. So I had a chance to go to the city to meet different clients. And then little by little, then we started opening all these magazines, and I was asked to create a logo for Westchester Home, for 914 Inc., for weddings. Like, what else can you ask for? As a young designer and given a new carte blanche, it was wonderful. And I had a great people to work with, from editors to co-workers, fellow art directors. It was just a wonderful ride. And I want to emphasize that it's really about the journey, not about the destination. And I know it may sound like cliche, but it is true. In today's world, we rush. We want to get as much as possible in a very short period of time without smelling the roses, without enjoying that moment. Sure. The moment that really gives us the sense of life when you think about it. Yeah. Why are we here? Why are we talking? Why are we? Because we enjoy this moment and we want to spread the word. And that's what I was doing. In the midst of everything, I had my son Vitek, who is going to college in Europe, actually. And just giving you a quick background on me, I was born and raised in Poland, and I came to college here. And don't tell my parents, I really wanted to go to art school, and they prevented me from doing it, starting from high school to ending on college. So I had to go far enough to make my own decision to go to art school, and the rest is history. But believe it or not, they were very, very supportive.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they saw that I really wanted it very, very much. And that's my message to anyone who's thinking, what shall I do? Listen to your heart. Listen to your heart, because that's the only way you're going to go through troubles, difficulties, challenges, and you're going to persevere.
Sure.
Because that's what you want.
So it's interesting because part of the objective of this show is also to shed light on how people, it's inside copying. So we want to look inside to find out what provokes people to make the career decisions they did. So I have two questions. The first is, as talented as you are, you could have moved jobs. You talked about staying power and the fact that you decided to stay. So that's my personal position, right? So once I started copying art, there was no other decision, right? I was kind of all in, and I'm a relationship person. Like, I wanted this full experience, but that is not the case today. So young people are kind of told, like, move. There's something lost for the generation who will take that approach. Now, you pick your own approach, right? And do what's right for you. But there's something to be said for growth within. So tell me why you made the decision to stay when I'm sure you had offers to go to many different places over the years. What was it? So about Today Media, yes, but about you that made you make the decision to stay in one place?
Yes, there were many reasons. Many reasons, but for me, it's very important to have the balance also of work and life relationship. In 2004, I had my son, and as much as I love my job, I also wanted to create the quality life for him. So, and I think it's something we have to think about every day, and a lot of young families moving into Westchester have the same dilemma. Do I work? Do I just give all myself to work, or do I attend to my family? We have to juggle. There's no easy way to do it. You have to make your decisions every day based on that. And I involved my son in my work. I loved bringing him whenever I could to work. I even recently recruited him as a model, I suggested him as an assistant, because he's learning what I do, what I'm about. So when I'm not with him, he knows what I'm doing and what I learn and what's important to me. So my decisions were based on the work life, my life. It needs to work together.
Right.
And both of these were important to me. And besides, Today Media was a company I wanted to stay with.
Okay. So you had like something there.
I agreed with their philosophy. I agreed with what they were doing, and I wanted to be a part of it. And I still want to be part of it. We growing, we developing, and we changing. So Ralph Martinelli was a visionary who created this magazine and all the events around the magazine that live on after he passed. So it was something very important in my life that I wanted to be a part of. And you have to make that decision for yourself.
Correct. Yes, I love it.
But do take your priorities in account.
Right. Well, I think that's where we should all start from, is like, what do you want? Right.
From life.
Right. For your life.
Yes.
Right. And that's it's the question that people can't answer.
Yes.
So I'll talk to anybody who will listen about the power of what do you want in that question. And I like to challenge them to ask people they know, what do you want? And you'd be surprised the percentage of people who respond with the opposite. So I'll say, what do you want for lunch? And you'll say, well, I don't want Chinese food.
Right.
Right?
They know what they don't know.
What they don't want.
Yes.
And so there's power in being able to clearly articulate what you want, which it seems like you've been able to do.
It's been challenging. You know, I'm the kind of person that as soon as I know what I want, I go for it. I find a way to do it. You know, I can tell you stories about somebody telling me, oh, this person is not reachable. We can't really even talk to them. Oh, give me that assignment. I'll find a way. But clarity is something that I think takes time and attention and a lot of personal work. I do believe in working on yourself, finding out who you are, who you work best with, what you want to do. Maslow said it best. We are all here to reach our full potential. And
right.
That's the trajectory that we're doing. But at the same time, also enjoy every moment of it.
I agree. So I was immediately fascinated by you when I first met you. And not just the creative kind of powerhouse that you are, because I see a lot of those in my work. But like the heart and soul that you bring to everything you do was kind of admirable, and is admirable, not kind of. It is admirable. Tell me a little bit about kind of the legacy you hope to leave in this career that you're far from being over, but like, tell me, you walk with a lot of intentionality, and you kind of seem to know exactly what you're trying to do. So tell the audience what you're hoping to leave behind with all of the work that you've done creatively.
Yeah. I love working with young people, with interns that come to us and they become our employees. And I always say, ask a lot of questions. No question is a stupid question. It's better to ask too many than not enough. And try do in your life what you feel that you are here for. Don't be afraid. And with the magazines, I hope people will look back and look at these beautiful layouts and stories that we create, and they come alive on every page, and I hope they're gonna remember them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and see your name, right?
See my name, but even more than my name, I think the energy, as you mentioned, we always strive to show the character and personality of the person or a place that we're writing about. And that's what we want our readers to see.
Right. And not like a shameless plug. When we got the spread for Best Places to Work, I don't know how many calls, emails, text messages. I got blasts from the past messages, like, wow. And I thought it was super cool because you really tried to capture, and you really successfully captured the energy of the space. All I can talk about is like my experience with you. Yes. And you were here at Copy and Art, and you took your time and you spent time and you got to see the office and you got to see the people. And then that spread, when we saw it, it was just beautiful. And I hope that in edit, the team will be able to kind of show what I'm talking about, but not because like I care that people know we're a best place to work. Hopefully people will know that. But because of the way that you approach that shoot and the way that you approach that spread, which was obviously the most personal to us, but it looks like that's the way you
that makes me so happy, because that's exactly the intention we have. You know, we do take time to scout places before we go and talk to people before we photograph them, to be truthful to who they are, what they are, and to show it outside.
Yeah. So outside of work, what's important to you? Like from a nonprofit perspective, I know you have a son who is in school. Talk to me about like what lights you up when you're not doing everything you do for Today Media.
I have to say that it all boils down to relationships. I love to travel, I love to dance, I love music, but everything boils down to relationships, because each event, each thing I do, it's about people. My family is far away, but we talk every day, and what I'm thankful for to my parents is that they exposed me to so many things. And I truly believe that as a parent, our job is to expose our kids to everything they're worth exposing to, and prepare them for the time we are not around.
Right.
It's sad to think about it, but it's coming one day.
That's the job, yes.
And you know, the biggest fear is that they're going to be in trouble, or something's going to happen to them and they're not going to know what to do. And if they are exposed, my parents would take me everywhere, from parties to art exhibits and concerts. And that's what I try to do with my son. But it really boils down to relationships, people that you meet, conversations that you have, touching the hearts and souls of people that you meet every day. And that's what I love. And I believe the energy attracts energy. So positive energy is very important to me. Tony Robbins said it the best, where you put your energy, you're gonna get more out of it and more of it. Yeah. So I really concentrate on thinking positive, attracting positive people, and in whatever I do. But I do love to travel, I have to say that.
What's your favorite place to go?
Well, besides Poland, my hometown, and seeing my, I love tropical islands. Yes. Us too. Yeah.
Yes. What's your favorite? You can have a favorite so far.
I haven't been there yet.
Oh, okay.
My dream trip is Seychelles Islands, and
wait, where is this?
That's somewhere near Asia and Africa. So I haven't been there yet. When I go there, I'll let you know. I'll have pictures.
Oh, yes, please.
You know, because talking about passions, photography is my passion. You'll ask everyone from my son to my co-workers. I always have a camera on me. I always take pictures to the point that everybody asks me, could you put that down? I just love freezing that moment. To me, photography is something that's going to live after we are gone and will show us, our grandchildren and further generations, what was happening, what we were about, that energy. So photography is something that I totally cherish wherever I go.
Do you get to ever leverage it in your publications?
Yes. Actually, believe it or not, some of my photography ended up on the cover of magazines, several of our magazines. I can point them out, but I'd rather not. I'll let you do the guessing. Yes. No, I never tell anyone that that's a photo that I took, because I don't want anybody to be biased. The best photo should win, and that's what we always do.
Aim for.
And aim for.
So we're coming to the conclusion, but I want to ask you a question that's one of my favorite. What did I not know enough to ask you?
That's a tough one.
That's why I say
because I'm an open book.
What do you think, like, the audience, what's something somebody might be surprised? Like, if you tell me you love photography and travel, I'm kind of not surprised, because you're a creative person, you're vibrant, like that makes perfect sense to me. That you love to dance. What kind of dance is your favorite?
Actually, I wanted to tell you that probably nobody knew that I was competing in ballroom dancing.
Oh, I love it. So I had a feeling.
Yes.
I love ballroom. What's your favorite style?
Actually, Latin dances.
I'm not surprised. Okay, so we know what we're doing after this. Okay, we're going dancing.
I'll need more of this.
Yeah, that's okay. We have plenty. Welcome to Copy and Art. No. Okay, so what didn't I know to ask? What is something that is interesting about you that people might be surprised about, or is interesting about you?
I'm really an open book. That's not that should be surprising, because these days a lot of people hold back. They don't talk what's on their mind, and I do. It got me in trouble many times, but that's really me. What you see is what you get, and I don't think there's anything surprising. I have a lot of stories from growing up in Poland. You may not know that I was just involved in helping Ukraine. My father is a Rotary president in Poland, and we created a humanitarian channel from Rotary clubs in Westchester. 13 clubs participated in it, and we collected funds which were sent to Rotary Club in Poland, from where items were bought, be it a generator or a diaper for little kids that have nothing at this moment, and transported to places where nobody can go because of the war. So I was very happy and, again, blessed to be able to help this way, to work with my father side by side. And I acted as a translator between American clubs, Polish clubs, Ukrainian clubs. And it's just amazing how the world became a smaller place, and how technology is, when it's used in the right way, is powerful and bring us together. And one word about technology, I think it's a double-sword tool. It's just like a knife. You can make dinner with it, or you can kill someone. So we have to be very careful how we use it. But that's one of the things you probably didn't know.
I didn't, and I'm so glad I didn't know enough to ask, but you told me. I can't thank you enough for being here. We've already talked about you coming back, so I look forward to that.
Totally.
Right now. Thank you so much for sharing who you are and some of what you're about with our audience. I think it's really valuable for people to see, not just the people we might see at a networking event but the real you. So thank you for sharing today.
Thank you, and I hope it was inspiring and might as well help someone who's out there.
Absolutely. That's my goal too. And I thank you for joining us on Inside Copy and Art, the podcast. I'll catch you next time.